Okay, today we are playing a game on the Temple of Anubis. We are in the Platinum SR range, and we will be playing Moira the entire way through. And our current team composition is not important because I've been rushed and forgot to write it down, but that's okay. I'll make it up to you by reading some questions from the email instead. I know how excited you are to hear about them. So question 1 is, what the fuck is wrong with some people? That's a very complicated question. Number 2, where should I be positioning as Moira? Typically close to the front line, but not actually the front line. And that might sound like there's no distinction. There is, actually. It's like if we got a Reinhardt, like we do in this particular instance, at least I assume that's Reinhardt. It could just be part of Farah, for all I know. You would be next to the Reinhardt, typically, behind the Reinhardt. Because Moira has to actually do damage, to actually be able to heal people, and typically, you would do this by being quite close to the front line, but not actually being the front line. You always want someone between you and the enemy team, but typically very close to the front line. I just repeat what I said about 5 times, and that'll probably get the point across and maybe make it sound like I know what I'm talking about, which is the ultimate goal. If the enemy team is relatively divey, or your backline is being pressured by Tracer, Genji, something like that, you'll want to position more towards the back to basically help them with that situation. But typically, you'll be close to the front line. Yeah, it's a good 6 or 7 times. All right, I think we're good. So, number 3, what comps work best with Moira? She can work with any comp, really. The one you'll struggle the most with is dive comps, because Moira can't. She doesn't have the actual speed or survivability to really keep up with a dive comp properly. Yeah, she has Fade, but if you use Fade to go forward into the enemy team, it's quite easy to kill you, oddly enough. And she has limited ways to affect team fights that are on high ground if she can't get to the high ground herself, so dive comp she doesn't tend to work well with, but everything else, is basically fine. I find she works best with comps that are very stationary, basically. Soldier, Bastion, Orisa type deals, something like that. Because she does a fucking lot of healing. So she makes it very hard for those people to die, basically, and you can help fight off flankers as Moira as well. Also, if you've got triple, quad, tank, whatever, Moira works very well with that because she does a lot of healing, and it's all AoE. It's the same concept as why Ana was really good with the triple tank comp way back in the day, so those are what typically works best. You'll also maybe want to avoid picking Moira if the other healer is a main healer, because the thing is with Zenyatta and Lucio as the off-healers, they have the strongest defensive ultimates in the game. So if you have 2 main healers, you tend to lack a very powerful defensive ultimate. Coalescence is sort of defensive, but it doesn't really compare to Transcendence and Sound Barrier, so you might consider changing to Zenyatta or Lucio if the other healer is Mercy or Ana. For some reason they chose Ana, right? But she works well with basically everything except a dive comp, which she tends to struggle with a little more because she can't really keep up. So, now that we've answered those questions, let's start the gats maddeningly loud. Holy shit. Alright, so this is a very short game, as you might notice, just like the last game we played on Temple of Anubis, actually, strangely enough. I feel like I might have said Temple of Oasis when we started this. If so, Christ, I'm stupid. Or I'm stupid now, either way. So they had a Tracer. Tracer's dead now, so that's great. Because now we don't have to worry about the Tracer. And so the enemy team, not overtly scary, really, and Widowmaker's kind of doing all the work right now, because Widowmaker's literally just killed 3 members of their team. So we get to win because Widowmaker killed everybody. It's just how it is, basically. So now we get to attack the second checkpoint. Hooray! Now you'll notice the video's not very long, so you can probably infer roughly how this is going to go based off this first push. Very similarly to the very last game we played on Anubis. So, Widowmaker's actually changed to Tracer, which is a strange decision, all things considered, seeing as she literally just captured that point by herself. But, you know, whatever. So we've almost got Coalescence because it's that type of ultimate. Reapers killed Farah. How peculiar. So that's going to make it difficult for us to push in, but it's alright. Mercy's made her alive now. She's no longer dead. Roadhog's gotten into an unusual situation, it looks like, because he's under the bridge right now. It looks like he tried to go in from the right-hand side and had to go through the ditch to survive. Okay. So, you know, like, there hasn't really been anything to say about what we're doing so far. So we just use Coalescence now. It's perfectly fine. Coalescence you can use to engage a fight because you can, it's got the aggressive component. So you can, and it heals your team as well, so you can, your team can go in off the healing and all that such within, you know. And really not, you know, it's kind of just plays itself, really. So, Reinhardt's using Earth Shatter. We can just, like, back up and avoid falling in the ditch, because, of course, it's difficult for us to get out of the ditch. Now, don't really need to use Fade right here, because it kind of doesn't do anything except put you right in front of where the enemy team will be regrouping from. In all likelihood, I guess they could go the other way, but one of the two locations the enemy team will be coming from. And now you don't have your escape, and you also don't have your orb to help you survive. Now, as you can see, we get away with it regardless. But we didn't really need to use Fade to get to the top of this staircase. We could have just walked up the staircase, looked around the corner, and then went, oh fuck, that's the whole enemy team. And then, or the remainder of the entire enemy team, and then faded backwards. But as you can see, not much is really happening right now. Didn't really need to use the healing orb. Mercy's using Valkyrie, and you've got, like, full resources right now. You could have thrown the damage orb instead of the healing orb. Again, exact same argument. You know, we could have used thrown the damage orb right there as well. Mercy's very low right now. We don't want Mercy to die, because she's, like, the healer, really. We've got Coalescence again, hooray! Now, in the same fight, it's just that kind of ultimate, you know? So, positioning-wise, while using the ultimate, we're just like, ooh, I'm gonna laser these people. We want to hit as many people as possible, so we should have just, like, start backing up, like, into that room, really, and then you can get it all the way across the entire point and hit your entire team. Because you want to try and position so that you have the best possible angle of your team and the enemy team. Throwing healing juice on the enemy Reinhardt, perhaps not the most productive use of company resources, but we'd had won the game anyway, so. Can you guess how this fight goes over this first checkpoint? I know it's a tougher call, considering how close the game has been thus far, but anyway. So, here comes the enemy team. Throw the damage orb. We had already... When did we throw the last orb? Did we actually throw it out there? We didn't throw it out there. Oh, we threw that quite early. It still hit people. Alright, I wasn't really paying attention. I was off in my own little world. We threw that quite early, but I mean, you know. Now, throw that orb, though. Yeah. Don't throw it, like, right at the ground, though. As we do right there, because as soon as it hits the ground, it's going to start flying up into the sky. Like, you want it to have, like, a steeper angle, a shallower angle, in fact, the opposite of what I was saying. Because as soon as they bounce off the ground, they go up into the sky, and that's when it's not going to do anything anymore, so you don't want to throw the orb, like, at the ground, really. We're on an elevated position, so obviously it's going to be a bit at the ground, but you don't really want to just throw it directly at the ground. Hold on. Why do we throw this? Absolutely no need. No need. No. Could have thrown the damage orb at them and just healed the Orisa. She wasn't about to die. Yeah, somebody else dropped down in front of us in danger, but here's the thing. Left click's AoE, so, you know. Didn't need to throw that healing orb either. I swear if you throw... Okay. If you throw the healing orb in this room, I'll be very upset. I'm a little upset we threw the damage orb in here, because there's only one person in here, and they were unlikely to just sit in that room and let the damage orb kill them, you know? So, here we threw it at Baby Diva, which is also unnecessary, because she will die. Right, there's no way she survives that engagement right there. So we could have just thrown the damage orb out towards their spawn instead and gotten more ult charge off of it. Granted, we basically have our ultimate already anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Miraculously enough, Genji actually had his ultimate, but it is not exactly the prime time to use Dragon Blade, I would say. In fact, I would classify that as a rather poor use of Dragon Blade. And now he has to file away and make a new sword right now, and you know how those Japanese katanas are, implying those, as opposed to the Scottish katanas, they spend a long time making those fucking things. Anyway, Roadhog's asleep over here, unlikely to die. We come over here to make sure he doesn't die anyway. He didn't die, oddly enough. And D.Va's doing this up here. D.Va shouldn't be doing that. As you can see, Widowmaker is just winning the game. That rule that there are some games that you're just going to win through no fault of your own is clearly at play right now, because Widowmaker is actually winning the game. We're just kind of here, and not just us, but like us, the team collectively, are basically just kind of along for the ride right now. The enemy team are also, of course, very tilted, because they've been losing to Widowmaker this entire time, and you'll notice they've had a Winston. So you know what the, the focal point of blame is on their team right now. We threw the healing orb in there to try and, make sure Roadhog doesn't die, I guess. We already have our ultimate, so I'm not gonna nitpick the use of the orb too much right there, because the principal purpose of the damage orb is gaining more ult charge, so if we already have our ultimate, it's less concerning of getting, we're less concerned with getting, full value out of our orb. We would still like to get as much value out of it as possible, but, the principal use of the damage orb is ult charge. This is a very perplexing use of the orb right there, though, I must say, because, the self-destruct is 1,000 damage, so it's unlikely that the healing orb is going to be the thing that makes somebody survive, but I mean, it's possible, I suppose. So Winston's up to no good over there on the rooftops right now, bouncing around like he's the Hulk. Man, a Hulk skin for Winston would be really fucking good, wouldn't it? Just think about that. He could be, it writes itself. He's Bruce Banner, and then when he ults, he's the Hulk. Now, granted, there's the copyright issue, but I've no doubt that Marvel would be like, absolutely put our people in your wildly successful video game. We would love nothing more, frankly. No, yeah. Who's a Marvel? What's a Marvel? I've never heard of them before, but you know. It would be such a good skin. And then, it writes itself out from that point, doesn't it? Widowmaker could be Black Widow. Reinhardt could even be Captain America, perhaps. We could go, no, Bridget would make more sense for Captain America, honestly, because her shield is more conducive to that change than Reinhardt's. Or Captain America's a man. Yeah, so was Thor at one point, but look where we are now, so, Who gives a shit, really? As Overwatch has been meant to teach us, anyone can be a hero, and then we diligently follow that moral by being massive cunts to each other the entire time we are playing the video game. You'll notice that this video has been a lot of bullshit, because... Right. Fundamentally, I don't think this was the best game to send in for review, because Widowmaker won the game. Great job, Widowmaker. Wasn't entirely Widowmaker, but I would estimate a good 85% of it was Widowmaker. So we won, startlingly enough. I look over there, the video is currently 14 minutes and 30 seconds before I've deleted the part at the start of the video where nothing was happening and I was getting ready. So, this has been a tremendous experience. Look, Reinhardt used Earth Shatter. Oh, Winston's like, I want to be involved too. I want to be in that ultimate. Hooray. And that's why Reinhardt's a really good hero. good job, Widowmaker. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I didn't answer any of your questions from the email adequately, please let me know, and I will try to expand further. And I hope you liked the video.